So it looks like there's going to be a change of the coaching guard at Colorado, as Coach Prime is now having to replace one of the coaches he just hired a couple months ago. Let's talk about it. Who's leaving and who we're hearing is going to take the job. Coming up here in about 10 seconds. What's good, everybody? It's your boy Jay here with Unfair Sports, where we take a pensive approach to the sports conversation. Thanks for pulling up to the YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to talk about a new coach that's headed to Colorado to join Coach Prime's staff, Sal Sunseri, as he is leaving Alabama to join them, and why that job came up for grabs. But before we do that, you all know the drill. Hop in the comments. I want to hear from you. What do you think about Sal Sunseri coming to Colorado and leaving Alabama, replacing Coach Patrick Hill, who's looking like he's going to the NFL? If you're new to the channel, hit the like, subscribe, and the bell notification. Love to have you here with the family. We are growing and getting back into the groove. Now the quiet period's over. You're going to see a lot more content coming down the line, especially around the Colorado Buffs. So I want to make sure that I'm showing you some love along with my Oklahoma Sooners and the rest of college football itself. But without further ado, let's dive into Sal Sunseri, who is currently a special assistant over at Alabama, and he's going to take the job at Colorado as the defensive tackle coach. And first, let's go back to why this job is open. And so Coach Prime had hired Patrick Hill, who was a defensive analyst over at LSU underneath Jamar Cain, who comes from Oklahoma before he went to LSU underneath Brian Kelly. And he was there, special assistant, doing some things at LSU and did some special stuff there. And it looks like, rumor has it, that the opportunity to go to the NFL was placed in front of him. And because that opportunity came up, a lot of these young coaches don't pass on it. Now, Patrick Hill was an up-and-coming recruiter as well as coach. I did a video on him when he first was coming to Colorado, and there was a lot of really big things about him. I mean, like I said, he was underneath Jamar Cain, who's another up-and-coming recruiter and very well known in college football ranks. And Coach Hill was one of those young up-and-comers that a lot of people were really trying to get their hands on. So Coach Prime took advantage of the fact that he's Coach Prime, going to Colorado, doing some special stuff, brought him along for the ride. And I was pretty stoked for it because I think that he's going to do a fantastic job of helping that staff. Well, Matt Zenith from On3 is reported on Monday that the Vikings were expected to hire him as an assistant defensive line coach. Kind of tough pill to swallow, but at the same time, it is the NFL. A lot of these coaches are making that move, and when they have the opportunity, especially young, they're taking advantage of it, because if it doesn't work out, they can easily roll right back into coming back to the college ranks. But having that NFL experience looks very good on a resume, and it makes it to where, some players are willing to listen to you just as much as some of these recruiters who are just monsters in the game, He's one of those. So with that piece, now that Coach Patrick Hill is headed to the NFL, it is expected, Coach Prime had to figure out how to replace him. Got to go find yourself a good coach, and he went back to the well that he had already taken from. Remember, Coach Prime in Colorado had snatched up Coach Charles Kelly over from Alabama, who was 24/7's top recruiter of the year. And Coach Kelly's known for, you can walk in a room and he's that dude. And he does a very good job of recruiting. So he went back to one of the special assistants on the staff, which is Sal Sunseri. Now, Sal, 63 years old, has a ton of experience. He's won 4 national championships, as in he's been a coach on 4 teams that have won titles, 3 at Alabama and the 1 at Florida State. And he's one of those coaches that he's got a lot of clout. Went and checked out his wiki, see his career trajectory. Played ball at University of Pittsburgh. Played for the Steelers practice squad back in the early 80s, actually before I was even born, which is fascinating. But he went and coached in Pittsburgh, worked his way from the ranks, and spent some time at LSU in 2000, Michigan State in 2001. He spent some time with the Carolina Panthers. He was a defensive line coach there for 6 years. That's huge. Came back to Alabama, worked underneath Nick Saban at Alabama. My apologies. Was a defensive coordinator for my other team, the Tennessee Volunteers, which is interesting. Went to be a defensive end coach at Florida State and worked his way from, he was at the Raiders as a linebacker coach, spent some time at Florida, back at Alabama as outside linebacker coach, and now he is a special assistant for Nick Saban, moving him on over to Colorado now as the defensive line coach. And so having that type of coaching pedigree and that experience, I even saw an article where a former defensive lineman ripped Alabama for even letting that man out the door. And that tells me enough about Coach Sunseri that he's respected by his peers, he's respected by his players, and he's one of those that you would love to have on your staff to be able to get the edge against other teams and when it comes to recruiting. And Coach Prime is doing it smart here. You bring in a coach like this who's spent a lot of time in the SEC, spent some time in the NFL, and's got some ties in the area. You can leverage that and really get some of this talent to come to Colorado. It's not the easiest place to get a whole bunch of great recruits. Not saying you can't get them, Colorado fans. Please believe you can. But your record tells us it's not as easy as it sounds. And so the good thing is you're bringing in a coach like Coach Prime, who's bringing it and building a staff that can go all corners of the country and really bring in talent. And I believe that adding a coach like Coach Sunseri is a fantastic move. And all it does is add additional clout, as the youth would say, to when they walk into the room. Now, not saying that Coach Patrick Hill couldn't do it similar. He wasn't a fast riser. But now that he's in the NFL, you need somebody that can walk in the door and do something similar. And I think Coach Sunseri can do a little bit more damage than Coach Hill could because of his experience and access. So outside of that, thanks for pulling up. Hop in the comments. Let your boy know what you think about Coach Sunseri coming over to Colorado. Colorado fans, how you feel? There's a lot of cool stuff happening for you all. So I'm expecting you all to be excited. If you're new to the channel, hit that like, subscribe, and the bell notification, and join the family. We're going to be dropping all this content, man. Spring game is coming up. We're going to start looking at the roster and trying to understand what Colorado looks like coming up, especially with those transfers and the current players. Outside of that, expect some more videos coming down the line. I'm going to drop some shorts as well. We've got a lot of cool stuff coming on. Also, YouTube says watch one of these videos, so go ahead and do it. Peace.